Welcome everybody to another episode of Fantasy News. I'm your disheveled goblin host Daniel Green, and today, oh boy am I so excited to say, our latest limited release merch drop is live now. And for today and today alone, everyone can get 10% off their order. Of course, patrons will be getting their own exclusive code to get an additional 10% off for the rest of the drop that's going to last till November 30th, my birthday. And ladies, gentlemen, and goblins, I'm so excited to say that this is my favorite merch drop genuinely we've ever done yet. That we have ever done. And we are calling it the Classy Classics. It includes designs like the dragon knit sweater so that you may show up for the holiday festivities with your family, yet maintain your nerdy persona. We also have bringing in the disheveled goblin once again on t-shirts and sweatshirts, as well as if you're a fan of the bookshelf roasts, the Boom Roasted oversized box tee. And maybe my favorite design yet, based off of viewer demand, we have the Give Women Swords goddess design. So if you would like to take advantage of the 10% off that will be available till the end of the day, go ahead and click the link in the description down below, or go ahead to danielbgreen.com and expand your fantasy clothes collection today. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and get on into the rest of the news. And of course, for the first story of the day, we are going to be covering the Goodreads Choice Awards for 2023, the popularity contests of all popularity contests for science fiction and fantasy, as well as many other genres. Here on the channel, we're just going to go over the nominees for science fiction and fantasy. But instead of having my dyslexic ass struggle with so many names, I instead am going to bring in professional voice actress and beautiful significant other of mine, Kayla Torreson, to read these off so that we all don't have to struggle with me. Take it away, Kayla!
And the nominees for fantasy are Clytemnestra by Costanza Casati, Starling House by Alex E. Harrow, The Book That Wouldn't Burn by Mark Lawrence, The Fragile Threads of Power by V.E. Schwab, Hellbent by Lee Bardugo, Venko Coven by Sherry Dimeline, Atalanta by Jennifer Saint, Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett, The Will of the Many by James Islington, Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson, The Adventures of Amina al-Sarafi by Shannon Chakraborty, Victory City by Salman Rushdie, The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roshani Chokshi, Stone Blind by Natalie Haynes, Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare, Ink Blood Sister Scribe by Emma Torres, Bookshops and Bone Dust by Travis Baldry, A Day of Fallen Night by Samantha Shannon, The Unmaking of June Farrow by Adrian Young, and Witch King by Martha Wells. And the nominees for Best Science Fiction are I Keep My Exoskeletons to Myself by Marissa Crane, The Deep Sky by Yume Katase, The Light Pirate by Lily Brooks Dalton, Lightbringer by Pierce Brown, Land of Milk and Honey by C. Pom Jang, The Future by Naomi Alderman, The Great Transition by Nick Fuller Guggens, Chain Gang All-Stars by Nana Kwame Anjabrenya, Ascension by Nicholas Binge, In the Lives of Puppets by T.J. Clune, The Marriage Act by John Mars, Some Desperate Glory by Emily Tesh, The Ferryman by Justin Cronin, Translation State by Ann Leckie, Starter Villain by John Scalzi, Bridge by Lauren Bukes, The Deluge by Stephen Markley, System Collapse by Martha Wells, The Jinbot of Shantiport by Samit Basu, and Children of Memory by Adrian Tchaikovsky.
And I just want to say that, congratulations to every single one of the nominees, and I look up to each and every single one of you. I genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, want to read all of your books. So please don't take this as a shot at anybody who was nominated, but Goodreads, from the bottom of my editing hand, f*** you for having that many nominees. Jesus Christ. If you remove the expectation that the Goodreads Awards are supposed to be critical in any way, shape, or form, and instead just purely reflect a popularity contest, I think there's a place for them. No, I don't necessarily like them, and they're absolutely a tool to try and just drive you to buy popular books from Amazon, but at the same time, I don't think there's any other platform that could deliver a popularity contest like this. There are so many other alternatives to Goodreads, many of which we've talked about here on the channel ad nauseum. But I personally wouldn't really want Goodreads to helm an attempt at like a serious, actual critical awards, and instead I would like to see one of the alternatives that I would trust a bit more to helm that.
I don't trust you at all.
Good. So my opinions kind of evolved over the years to like viewing the Goodreads Awards as like, you know what? Do what you're doing. Stay over there. That's fine. And honestly, there is some value to a popularity contest. I am kind of curious to see what book will come out. And I'd be lying if I said I resisted the temptation to go ahead and vote for which books I wanted to see win in the two genres I care the most about. So that leads me to ask you, from this list of nominees, who do you feel like voting for the most popular book or your favorite book of 2023?
Which book, genius?
But now let's move on into some cover reveals, because we had from Tor In the Shadow of Their Dying by Anne Smith Spark and Michael R. Fletcher. Now I typically prefer a bit more of a color, but this one, especially with the typography usage, I'm digging, and it's got enough action going on that, yeah, I could see this certainly having appeal to probably its core grimdark audience. But speaking of grimdark, this will be published by Grimdark Magazine March 19th of 2024. Moving on over from there though, we had a cover reveal from an artist I am always excited to see a cover from, and that would be Felix Ortiz, because he did the design for The Hidden Guardian by J.D.L. Russell, Book 3 in Ranger of the Titan Wilds. And this is what I think I like so much about Felix Ortiz. He's able to shift his style while staying true to what you expect from him, but simultaneously embrace certain tropes from various fantasy covers. Like this gives me a little bit of pulp, that kind of hero rah under a lightning board, bird, but it's still dramatic and dynamic. That's the Felix Ortiz touch. Apparently this book will have a Kickstarter quote soon, but has an official Amazon publication date of April 2nd of 2024. And in the final Purdy book news of the day, Gollancz has announced their special editions for the Stormlight Archive run. Now you've probably seen these covers for the Stormlight Archive before, but these ones are going to be getting the deluxe treatment, which means they'll be available in hardcover with these sprayed edges and additional designs. An important note, because people get really mad when I don't cover this, there are shipping restrictions, of course, depending on where you are in the world, and my US audience, you can't have it. Look at it. It's not gonna be for you. Don't even look at it. Actually, you're not allowed to look. Stop. Stop looking at it, whores! But if you get the full bundle, this one will cost about 180 pounds. I can never remember the pounds versus euro thing, and it's expected to ship December 7th of 2022. But first I want to thank the sponsor of today's video, my publisher, Wraithmarked Creative. Wraithmarked is wrapping up their signed editions of the best-selling series Mother of Learning all in one go. After raising more than $250,000 across books 1 and 2, they're back at it with books 3 and 4, and they've kicked off these hardcover editions with a bang. You already know when it comes to Wraithmarked projects, these aren't exactly your standard mass market editions. For only $35, these books are beautiful. They come with an embossed dust jacket, gold foiled case, and of course with Wraithmarked Signature's customized interior care. That doesn't even include the colored in sheets and the author's signature that's included in every book. If you haven't picked up any of their previous books, including my own, no worries. You can grab all of them in this campaign if you want, with a discount for doing so. Grab some amazing books and support a small author in the community with a publisher that helps make this such a fun and creative space. Back to the news. But in some more dominance from the fantasy genre news, don't worry, I'm not going to go over the full list of nominations. We just did that for a while. But for the 2023 Gaming Awards, Baldur's Gate, the fantasy RPG smash hit, has tied Alan Wake 2 for the most nominations. I've said before, and I still maintain, despite some people accusing me of just having recency bias, that Baldur's Gate 3 is my new favorite game of all time.
It's the best there is.
I'm currently on my third playthrough, one of which I'm doing on Twitch, another I'm not, and every single time I play through the game, it's like a whole new experience. I absolutely understand how, in a competitive year, Baldur's Gate is still performing so well. And I'm also just starting Alan Wake 2, though Baldur's Gate is so addictive, I haven't played too much of it, and I get why that one is being nominated. It's so creative and different for a horror game. So in a year of gaming that certainly had its piles of donkey excrement, it's cool to see that the cream of the crop was still absolutely worth note and provided some truly exceptional games that I think years down the road I'll still be coming back to or coming to visit for the first time. I really want to play Tears of the Kingdom just to experience what so many people are telling me I'm not understanding the appeal of, which I probably just agree with. But speaking of things that I'm extremely hyped about and a bit of just community news here on the channel, I'm pausing pretty much all projects except for one first and last I am obligated to do, as well as Fantasy Newses, because I just finished the first book in the Sun Eater series, Empire of Silence, and I loved it so much I am now going to be binging this series and hopefully getting you at least one book review a week of entries from this series because of just how much I genuinely loved book one. So if you would like to read through Sun Eater with me, I'll have links for you to check it out down there. Highly recommend you do so and expect quite a bit of Sun Eater content from me in the future, starting later this week, I believe. Oh, and there's one interview with Sanderson that's going live Friday that I already have scheduled, but I'm not like actively working on that. That's just scheduled and in the future. So I keep my promise. It's all I'm working on. There's just stuff that's already here. But in news that I think really shocked one of the largest fandoms in fantasy, Shadow and Bone has officially been canceled over at Netflix, and its potential spin-off has been canned as well, leading to this statement from Lee Bardugo, the author of the series. Friends, by now you've probably heard that there will be no season 3 for Shadow and Bone and no Six of Crows spin-off. The news hit me hard. I'm heartbroken and deeply disappointed, but I'm also trying to hold on to my very real gratitude. Most authors never get to see their work adapted. Many who do end up regretting the experience. I'm one of the lucky few who can look at an adaptation with pride and tremendous joy. I am so grateful to our writers, our crew, and our extraordinary cast, who are not just wildly talented, but genuinely good people. Most of all, I want to say how grateful I am to the folks reading this. Whether you found your way to the books first or discovered them through the show, the Grishaverse is a better place because of you, and I am so thankful for every tweet, post, comment, review, artwork, fic, tattoo, and cosplay that helped to make all of this possible. We're book people, and that means we never stop imagining that magic can be made real. You are proof of that. Now, I'm going to go have a cry and maybe a drink, and then see where the story takes us next. No mourners, Lee. That is such a classy post, and I'm really sorry for the Shadow and Bone fandom to see this happen. I wasn't the biggest fan of the show, but it still just like inevitably sucks, and I know what it feels like to have a project you're deeply invested in just suddenly yanked away when you already thought there was gonna be another season and possibly a spin-off. Lee Bardugo is someone though whose books I have loved. Ninth House was one of my favorite reads of the year that I read it in, and I'm absolutely still planning on getting to Hellbent. So while Shadow and Bone never won me over, Lee Bardugo's response to this makes me an even bigger fan of hers. And I just want to say, it's clearly a little bit of a move to announce that you're canceling Shadow and Bone within like a week of your company saying they're going to be focusing on quality over quantity. So on behalf of Lee Bardugo and her fans, even as someone who wasn't a mega fan of the show, I just want to present to you a very fine and well-tuned you. And just a piece of cool quickie video game news, there's a small documentary available for completely free on YouTube for Half-Life, celebrating the 25th anniversary of the game. So if you want to see just a hour long of like behind the scenes development stuff from the game that really helped form a lot of the genres it's related to for gaming, go ahead and check that out. Of course, link down below. And in the final piece of quickie news today, it seems that we're going to be getting Dune 2 a couple weeks earlier than we thought possible, because the release date has been moved up from March 15th to March 1st of 2024. It's funny, in the day and age we're in of constant delays, as soon as I saw Dune 2 and it said like release, I was just, oh, we're gonna get it later, whatever. And then I saw like it was moving up and my brain still didn't process. And I was like, is that a typo? Because it should be, no, am I thinking of it wrong? Does the month start on the 30th and count down? Oh, no, it's moving up. Wow. final story we're going to be covering here today, one that I have been asked to give like a live reaction to and opinions on, but I just don't really have that many for, is the Percy Jackson and the Olympians for Disney Plus trailer dropped. And I am sure if I found myself drawn to this series at all, I would be hyped about this. I even like watched it and kept thinking like I should be into this. If I was into this, I would like that. I think the most positive thing I can say here is I really do like the age of the actors. They seem very much so from what I remember imagining the characters as back when I first read the books in like high school, maybe late middle school. But I've just never been too drawn to Percy Jackson, though the reaction to this from the fandom has seemed to be overwhelmingly positive. So congrats to you all. It just seems to have been developed at breakneck speed. It's impressive how quickly shows like this with crazy effect can now be turned around with decent looking results. But this has just been your latest episode of Fantasy News. Like and subscribe if you have not already, and hit the Patreon if you want to support what I do here. I have books available as well as the merch, which is live right now and will be gone on the 30th. So if you want to get that 10% discount, go ahead and go to danielbgreen.com. Have a good one, y'all. Peace.